the last thing I want to ask you is what your advice would be, because now I think what we have is something very special. And, I know that there's a lot of young girls who would hope to one day have something like what we have. And I feel very blessed and lucky to have that. So, A, thank you. And B, I'm wondering what your advice would be to young women when choosing their husband. Like, what should they be looking for slash avoiding, especially considering if they come from a past such as mine?
Yeah. I'm a big fan in doing the opposites. You know that. So I would say if you're looking for something, identify a guy or, a partner, if you're a man, a girl who you don't want to be with, right? So identify the qualities and characteristics that you don't want to see in that individual, or better yet, characteristics that you simply cannot stand. It's a complete non negotiable. You just cannot deal with it. Because here's the thing, if you do jump into marriage, okay, like we did, and all of a sudden you discover that this is just absolutely unbearable, well, you will have to deal with it the rest of your life. You will have to learn to deal with it. There's no way out. So I would say just be incredibly cautious and selective. It is your life, it is your future, and know what you wouldn't want in the relationship and then kind of go from there. There is no formula at all, because even the most ideal candidate is gonna sometimes make you feel hurt and unseen and disappointed and angry. There is no perfect human. So
Yes.
just pick your battles and choose wisely. Know exactly what you're willing to, lack of a better word, settle for, and what things are completely non-negotiable that you just would completely hate your life being surrounded with.
Yeah.
And kind of go from there and see where it is.
Amen. I think that was a big reason I did choose you so quickly, is because I'd experienced so much of what I didn't want that I had a pretty heavy list of what that looked like, the things I didn't want. So it made it very narrow and fine-tuned to consider the opposite of, what I did want. And so because I was very clear about that, I attracted exactly that, and that was you. So,
Yes, and sometimes it happens, quick as well. I would say the I would say the most important thing that you could ever pick in a partner is just a commitment to the longevity of the union, because everything else you can essentially figure out from there. But if you pick someone who is very sensitive or gives up too quickly, regardless of how amazing of a list of characteristics they have, you're simply not going to last long enough to experience it for yourself.
yes. Yeah.
So having a mutual commitment, just determination to stick through whatever, and having that clear expectation from the start, no matter what, literally sitting with each other and going through scenarios. Hey, if this were to happen, how would we be? What would our future look like? And see what the responses are. I think that's central. If you don't have commitment to nurture something that is incredibly fragile and chaotic and beautiful and painful and just all over the place, then you don't really have a future to begin with, however perfect that person is for you.
Yeah, that's perfectly said, and for me, the only way I could really be sure that the man that I was choosing to marry really believed in commitment was knowing first if he believed in God. And so, we started with, like, intense Bible studies and, things around relationships based on what God says. And so because I knew you honored the Lord, I knew that you would honor what the Lord said about things like marriage and commitment. So that was the starting point.